Hi everyone, number one Marmaduke fan here. I just kind of found out on the fly that I need a larger SD card to shoot these HD videos, so I guess that'll keep me from going on too many tangents for a while until I get that new card. It's all a learning process. So I'm looking at Gwenpool number 22. Ever since Zach recommended issue 16, I've been buying up the series. I've been mostly digging it. I really dig Gurihiru. I'm starting to grow more attached to Strachalski. My first thought was, Gurihiru is a tough act to follow. I never want to draw an issue after Gurihiru. And I thought Strachalski suffered from kind of flat face syndrome a bit, where characters, the front of their faces look like one flat piece of paper. But I think Strachalski's kind of starting to warm up a bit, maybe even looking at how Gurihiru is drawing the character and taking some notes out of their book. And I'm starting to dig it. I think Strachalski is strong enough that I'm starting to feel less like, oh, it's not Gurihiru when I open it up, because she's bringing some of that cartoon fun to the character. This is a bit of a fake news cover because it's a Gurihiru cover, so I picked it up and say, yay, Gurihiru, and then, oh, not Gurihiru. And probably someone at Marvel saw Captain Cummings roasting them for getting the artist's name wrong on the title page. I caught that too. What a dumb mistake. But even though it's Gurihiru on the front, it's Strachalski on the interiors. Point one, this is hideous. This little legacy stamp of Gwenpool. This is beautiful, creepy and hyper-realistic, fun, cute cartoon character. This should be the appeal of the character. Gurihiru, I don't want them to become so tied to Gurihiru that the character couldn't move on without Gurihiru, but this needs to be who the character is. Fun, appealing, cute. And then I guess the other question is she going to be kind of the Harley Quinn anti-hero where she's murdering people, or are they actually going to make her a hero like they hinted at in issue 20? And I want them to decide what this character's identity is. I'm seeing so much potential for greatness in this comic, and it's not just like it could potentially be good, but it's actually really bad. It's potentially good and it's really, really good. It's really, really good, and it could potentially be a great long-term character. We could be reading stories about Gwenpool 30 years from now, but she needs to have some heroism and she needs to have some personality outside of superhero antics. She needs a supporting cast. Who's her Betty Brant and Aunt May? Who's her Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen? Her brother, well, he's kind of disappeared again. Her parents are in another dimension. Give her a life. Bring her parents into this dimension so she has her mom and dad family dynamic. Show more of her kind of like on the job, making fun of Clark Kent. Have her wear glasses and pretend to be a nerd and make fun of that aspect of superheroics. But she needs something beyond just kind of goofy anti-hero girl to make us connect with her. The conventions of her jumping in and out of the comic book world are fascinating. I love that they're still doing fresh stuff with it, but that's not enough to build a character in the long run. She needs to have some heart and soul in addition to the cool power and the kind of quirky humor ideas. So she wants to get in a fight with Doctor Doom because she's on this kind of misguided idea that if she kills or disposes of a bunch of villains, then she'll be a real, legitimate hero. And Strachalski's putting some energy into the scenery, the backgrounds. I'm warming up to this artist a lot. And okay, so this was the interesting thing. So the bit they do with Gwenpool is that she knows she's in a comic book and she can use her powers to play with the fact that she's in a comic book. So these almost work perfectly in the floppy format, where they don't really work so well in digital. You can still kind of tell what's going on, but sometimes they play with the ads and they don't bring that over into the digital. These are primarily a floppy comic book medium. And I thought it was fun how they foreshadowed this idea that she's traveled in time, and you kind of peek at her, in between the panels doing something. So they tip their hat that that's going to happen, that she's going to go back in time. And it's cute and it's consistently interesting, where you see her going back in time while current time Gwenpool is going forward in time. The only thing I didn't dig was you should be able to read it forwards and backwards. So here's like a blank space where it looks like they intended something to happen. Maybe there was even plans to put Gwenpool traveling in time here with some cutie comment, but there's nothing. So now there's this blank white space. and let's go forward. So this is the moment where she realized she can go back in time, right, to get herself out of a tough situation. So here's where she starts running backwards in time from right to left. Good pacing to communicate to us she's going this way. Then nothing, no page where we see her going back in time. We don't see her going back in time here. We don't see her going back in time here. Boom, we should have a reminder that she's going back in time, so we can read this right to left as well as left to right. And then break, there we see her going back in time and making a cute comment. We see her going back in time here and here. So I just thought this was kind of a pacing mistake where you'd read it better right to left as well as left to right if they used a moment here to do the I'm going back in time in the white space of the comic book bit. All right, so that was just kind of the cute, creative thing they did with this issue. I need to skip a little bit so I don't get in trouble. Gwenpool is a fun, perky character. She likes boys. She's not just some sort of asexual weirdo. She feels like a real character. She feels like a fun character. Also, I like how Strzelczyk is drawing a handsome Dr. Doom. Alex Maleev, take notes. He gets some of that Bishi boy vibe out of manga because he should be pretty. Dr. Doom. That's one of the major points of his character. And then, boy, I really dug this where she's talking about she doesn't like this whole Dr. Doom becoming a sympathetic character arc, and she wants the real Doom, and then spoiler, she cuts him with some sort of sword, and then out comes the real old school Dr. Doom with his melodramatic evil speeches, and we're ready for a cool fight with old school Dr. Doom. Yeah, man, yeah, boy. So this is consistently doing, because I wonder if they're even just going to bring back the old Dr. Doom. Now that Bendis is going bye-bye, maybe they don't have to stick with this whole pseudo Iron Man Dr. Doom, but whatever. So I dig this comic. I really want them to nail down who the character is in her whole life, not just her superhero antics, because she needs to feel like a real person. She needs to have, those kind of Spider-Man situations where he's got to get the medicine to Aunt May, but he's also got to save New York. She needs some humanity to her, and cutesy pseudo Harley Quinn anti-hero isn't enough to make a lasting character over the course of decades. The letters column, I don't know. So Heather Antos, was kind of involved in a lot of this sort of back and forth, everybody yelling at each other on Twitter. I think it's a little unprofessional for her to just have a caricature of herself on the letters column, because they're written as if Gwenpool herself is answering the letters. So if you're going to do a bit like that, then we need to communicate that it's Gwenpool and not Heather Antos who's answering these letters. So I don't know. What if she makes a big mistake that's fireable at Marvel? Are they going to have to change the tone and character of this whole letters column? On one hand, Marvel editors have often had like a little bit of themselves in their work. They're making fun of their goofiness or their geekiness, but and that comes across in the letters to the editors page where you're talking to the fans. But I just think that this should be Gwenpool's letter to the editor. They're doing something fun with the convention where it's as if Gwenpool's entering into her own letters column, and they're doing a bit, and they shouldn't confuse us whether it's Heather Antos who's Gwenpool or Gwenpool who's Heather Antos. Have a little bit of separation between the character and the people who are involved in creating the character. Strzelczyk's pretty good. I'm starting to dig it more and more. A little bit of flat face syndrome, like I mentioned. I hope that Gurihiru comes roaring back. I heard someone on Twitter say they might be gone, and I hope that's just a rumor, because that is a artist team that you can build a great run on to generate interest in the character. I'm interested in the character in part because of what Gurihiru have done with her expressively, and whoever takes over for Gwenpool in the art, they need to remember that she is a fun cartoon character, and creepy murder anti-hero doesn't really gel with that. So, #1 Marmaduke fan, I'm still digging it, and Strzelczyk is capturing the cartooniness and the expressiveness of the character. So this is still on my list of books that I'm actually excited to read. #1 Marmaduke fan, love you guys, catch you later.